Gentlemen, are you in the situation in your divorce case in which you may have already paid your lawyer $20,000 or $40,000, or heaven forbid that you might have paid over $100,000? And if so, do you feel that you got good value or success in your case with that amount of money being paid, or do you feel that you got a bad result, or maybe that you got zero result? If you're in that situation, stay tuned. Don't go anywhere, because that's what we are talking about today in this video. One of the largest news agencies in Canada a few months back reported that in our family courts in this country, men who are going through a case of divorce and seeking custody or access or controls on child support or spousal support, division of assets, whatever it is, what they reported was that almost 50% of those men in that type of litigation have chosen to represent themselves. Is that because they're not happy with the results from their lawyer, or is it simply that who can afford $40,000 just to be able to see your children? As a matter of fact, who should have to, even if you can afford $40,000, why should you have to pay that kind of money to a lawyer when in reality everyone of you people and us and everyone in North America knows that at the point of separation, both parents should be having equal time with the children? And that's not only the parents' right, which it is, and you're not supposed to say that in our family courts and family law. It's all about the children, but it's the children's right also to have equal time with both parents. And whether you can afford those fees or not, really, why should you have to? It should be your automatic right. And it certainly has been argued, and we'll argue the same thing too. Rather than those $40,000 going to your lawyer, if our family law system automatically gave contact between the children and both parents, then that $40,000, should it not better be put into your child's benefit for his upcoming education, schooling, college, university, or even to start a business, or just for his future, rather than paying it in legal fees? One thing I want to make very, very clear is we are not here today, and our organization called KidsNeedTheirDads.com, we are not here to try to convince you to represent yourself, handle your own case. It is not easy. Several of our fellows have done it, some very successful, some less successful. But successful or not successful, it's not easy. This is not usually your area of training or experience or expertise. Maybe you're a plumber, maybe you're an electrician. You might be the very best electrician in all of North America, but you're not trained in how to represent yourself in court. So we understand that, but we also understand, as you probably will tell us yourself, and we would like you to comment down below in the comments and let us know how much money you might have lost, and did you have success or did you not have success? But even if you feel comfortable representing yourself in court, and or if you don't feel comfortable representing yourself, we do understand how many people can afford $40,000, and many of you have already borrowed and begged and pleaded and got that $40,000 already, or $60,000, $80,000. Can you keep on going, spending more and more of that money? So we understand exactly the kind of pressure that you're under to stop this outrageous spending on lawyers and try the best you can to represent yourself. even though you recognize it's a difficult ordeal, you're in a foreign environment in a courthouse. We all know that lawyers speak their own mumbo jumbo language. It's my honor, your honor, and my friend over here, and all this crap, and quoting 10,000 years of case law. None of you know all of that stuff, nor should you have to, just to resolve your family matter. I'd like to just, before I talk about what might be possible to help you in this respect, I'd like to just repeat a story that I have told many, many times, and I will continue to tell it because I think it is so accurate. Probably describes your situation, how you feel. One of our fellows from a few years back now, I'm going to call him George, even though that's not his real name. George said to me when we were talking about this matter of the difficulty of representing yourself in court, and he said to me, you know, I've already lost, Ross. I've lost maybe $60,000, and every time my lawyer has gone into an appearance, he's lost my case for me. He's lost a hearing. I achieved absolutely nothing. So I'm fully aware, and I accept the fact that representing myself, I may very well lose my case, and I may very well lose my various appearances. But what George said to me was this, which I love about him. He said, how different is that from my lawyer going in, as he's done for the last 4 years now, representing me and lose and lose and lose and lose. So if I lose, it's not much different from what my lawyer is doing for me. But what he did say was the most important part of this. He said, you know something, Ross, even though I may lose, and it's exactly the same as what my lawyer is being done, the difference here is that if I lose, and I'm going to make my very best effort to not lose, but if I lose, at least the difference between me losing and my lawyer losing is that when I lose, the $60,000 stays in my bank account and it doesn't go over to my lawyer's bank account. So that in itself is really worthwhile. And I thought, George, you got an amazing attitude, and we really want to work with you in whatever way is possible to help you, if that can be done in the guts you've got to go before the court, try to present your own case. But who can argue with you that at least if you do lose, your lawyer's been losing right and left, at least you end up with that $60,000, which you can now have the right to spend on your children rather than on having it spent on your lawyer's children. So if you are facing that situation, you have just almost been bankrupted by your lawyer, and your case is still ongoing, and you still have to make court appearances. We don't have a magic solution, not at all. But you may find this of some merit. What we do is we hold meetings with our fellows, and they're done by way of computer so that you don't have to drive miles and miles. And we realize we get calls from British Columbia, we get calls from Florida, from California, from Texas, and Montreal, Quebec, all over. And distance becomes used to be a problem, and it's not anymore with computers and the internet, that's for sure. But what a number of our fellows have found very helpful is that even though there is no magic here, there's no magic way of winning in court cases, they find that there's a great deal of value, though, in attending meetings where you might have the chance to interact with or even hear the stories of other men who may have gone through litigation very similar to yours, and they did represent themselves. And what can you learn from them? And our fellows are more than happy to answer your questions and give you a description of how their case went. You might meet up with some fellows who have not gone through self-representation yet, but they're in the middle of it. And how is it going? And what problems are they running into? Are there solutions to those problems? So those kinds of things that a lot of our newer fellows have found very, very helpful, learning from other men who either have gone through it And what can they teach you about it? And did their case go well, or did it not go so well? Or learn from those fellows who are right now in the thick of it. And you have the opportunity, if you're in the vicinity where those fellows are presently having court appearances, you can go and observe in those court appearances if you so choose, depending on how far away you are. And then the third category is those fellows who are not, they're represented right now by a lawyer. They've been through this bankruptcy nonsense of $40,000, $60,000 to a lawyer. And they're giving serious thought to, should I represent myself? Recognizing fully the difficulties, the learning process, what you're up against, but they're giving serious thought. Do you want to have interaction with those kinds of guys? Maybe that's your situation right now. So those three categories we find very, very helpful for those fellows who have been involved in the court case, the court process. They've lost just outrageous amounts of money, and they're giving serious consideration to representing themselves. And those three benefits could be being able to interact with some fellows who been there, done that, or those fellows who are currently going through it, or those fellows who may be in your situation. They're planning on representing themselves, or they're thinking about it. If that's your situation and you'd like some assistance in that respect, so you can do some learning yourself if you choose to go through self-representation. If that's your situation, then let's get started right now. Thank you so much for watching.